Just another hazy day.
A high-speed collision over the California desert tears two planes apart.
What the hell were those guys doing up there?
Doc, we're going down.
7 years later, a 727 and a Cessna crash into a San Diego suburb.
How did this happen again?
When two passenger jets collide in India. It's the world's deadliest mid-air collision.
2 fires on the ground. Confirmed?
With thousands of flights in the air every day, investigators need to find out where the system failed before another disaster occurs.
Forget the red tape. This is in the interest of aviation safety and saving people.
Los Angeles International Airport. Hughes Air West Flight 706 prepares for takeoff. There are 44 passengers on board. The flight is traveling from Los Angeles to Seattle with several intermediate stops.
Welcome aboard, folks. We'll be getting underway
Any minute now.
Former Air Force pilot Captain Theodore Nicolai is in command today. He has amassed more than 15,000 flight hours.
Air West 706 red, cleared for takeoff, runway 24 left. Climb via heading 250.
Roger, 24 left, climb heading 250.
First Officer Price Brunner has even more hours in the air than Captain Nicolai.
Weather's looking clear all the way to Seattle.
Throttles are all yours.
80 knots.
At 6:02 p.m., the DC-9 lifts off from LAX.
Turn right, heading 060.
Air West 706 red, right 060.
The heading takes the plane west over the Pacific Ocean before turning northeast towards its first stop, Salt Lake City. 4 minutes after takeoff, First Officer Brunner contacts a different control center north of LA.
Los Angeles Center, good evening.
Air West 706 red, turn left.
heading 040 until receiving guidance.
The controllers guide the DC-9 out of Los Angeles.
In addition to Air West, the radar controller may have been talking to 5 or 6 other jets climbing out towards the northeast, in addition to a small number of crisscrossers back and forth through the airspace.
Suddenly, an emergency alarm warns the controllers that a plane in their airspace may be in trouble.
At this point, we look back where Air West 706 is, the target's missing. The radar controller said something like,
Use Air West 706, reset your transponder. Radar contact lost.
there's no answer. Air West 706,
Radio check, how do you hear me?
no answer. This is getting bad now. We've lost target, and we've got no communications with the aircraft.
Moments later, the crew of a nearby military plane calls in devastating news.
Center, we've just seen an explosion on the side of a mountain.
The DC-9 with 49 people on board has slammed into the California hills.
Did Air West just explode? It had crashed for some reason, and we had no idea whatsoever.
The National Transportation Safety Board assigns one of its top investigators to the case.
Yeah, got it. Great, thank you. Bye.
Second World War Navy pilot Dick Baker.
San Gabriel Mountains.
The crash site is in a remote area of the San Gabriel Mountains, a few miles from the town of Duarte, California. In the hours after the crash, witnesses come forward insisting they saw a mid-air collision between the DC-9 and a fighter jet. Investigators are stunned. How did a fighter jet and a passenger plane end up on a collision course?
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
A call from a nearby Marine Corps base provides a key detail.
El Toro's missing a jet.
An F-4 Phantom hasn't made it back to nearby El Toro Marine Corps Air Base. It's the military's most advanced fighter, capable of outmaneuvering almost everything else in the sky.
In the 70s, there was lots of military training going on in Southern California because there were clear skies and lots of desert out there that they could train over.
Investigators learn the identities of the F-4's two crewmen, Marine pilot James Richard Phillips and radar intercept officer Christopher Schiess. Remarkably, after the impact, Lieutenant Schiess was able to eject from the doomed fighter.
Dick Baker.
The Marines send their own man to help with the investigation, Lieutenant Colonel Jack Zeich. Investigators hunt for clues as to how these two planes collided, but recovering the wreckage from the remote crash site will take time.
The first rescue workers had to hike 6 miles to get to the scene. They reported only the tail section intact, no signs of life.
A day after the crash, investigators get a chance to talk to the accident's sole survivor.
The DC-9 hit us. Like this, his nose to our tail.
Hold on, back up a bit. Tell me exactly what happened.
Lieutenant Schiess claims that his aircraft was not at fault. On the day of the crash, Schiess was flying in the rear seat of the F-4.
Copy, Rick. Climb to 15,000.
27-year-old Lieutenant Rick Phillips is in the forward seat, flying the jet. They're on their way back to home base, El Toro, California.
Climb to 15,000 feet. Here.
Schiess uses his radar to scan the ground below.
He would have his head down in the radar scope doing ground mapping, and then the front seater would be primarily visual because he knew that he lost that extra set of eyes that was down in the radar instead of looking out for other aircraft.
That's when I first saw the DC-9. Came out of nowhere and slammed into us.
5 seconds later, Schiess ejects.
I got out. Rick didn't.
The F-4 was not equipped with a black box that can confirm Schiess's story, and the high-speed impact obliterated the jet, leaving no clues. Luckily, the team recovers some of the wreckage of the DC-9, including the black boxes, but they're badly damaged and offer little help. Hughes Air West engineer Dave Knutson is brought in to see if the wreckage supports the young lieutenant's story. By reconstructing the DC-9, Knutson might be able to explain the angle of impact.
Climbing through 15,000 feet.
Just another hazy day.
10 days after the crash, searchers find the nose of the DC-9. It's a critical piece for the reconstruction. It reveals a large gash slicing through the cockpit.
Looks like the stabilizer cut the plane in two.
So if they hit like this...
The F-4 had actually penetrated the DC-9 on the left side, a few feet from the nose. So frankly, F-4 hit the DC-9 rather than the DC-9 hitting the F-4. cut off the nose of the airplane. And that took away all the controls in the airplane. As some of the observers on the ground said, it was like a falling leaf until they hit the ground.
Investigators know that Schiess was wrong about who hit whom. But why couldn't the pilots see each other and avoid a deadly collision? Investigators are under pressure to explain how a DC-9 and an F-4 fighter collided over California. They wonder how fast the planes were traveling at the moment of impact.
The F-4 is coming in at 420 knots from the north, slightly east. DC-9 is coming in at 320 knots from the southwest. What's the rate of closure?
I was able to calculate the closing speed of these two planes was roughly 1,000 feet per second.
In the seconds before the crash, Lieutenant Schiess likely had his head down, checking the ground below on his radar. Pilot Phillips is likely scanning instruments.
At 15 seconds, the F-4 is 1/10 of an inch big in the window. Tiny. 10 seconds, 3/10 of an inch. Still tiny, but maybe now we can see it. 5 seconds, the entire window's filled.
The probability of these two aircraft, either one, detecting and avoiding the other was slim and none.
Investigators suspect the design of the DC-9 cockpit, with its wide window dividers, may have made the visibility problem even worse.
You can't see it here. Or here.
The F-4 would have been hidden.
Or here. I mean, it's completely obstructed.
For close to 25 seconds.
Just another hazy day.
Watch it!
None of the pilots had enough time to see the oncoming plane. But air traffic controllers are supposed to keep planes a safe distance from each other. So why did they fail to separate the planes?
Air West 706 red, turn left, heading 040 until receiving Daggett.
The controllers revealed to investigators they couldn't see the F-4 either.
Why did the F-4, the Marine aircraft, not show up on the radar?
What the hell happened?
Investigators examine the radar equipment used at the control center. What they discover is alarming.
It was nothing more than World War II technology, and temperatures generated by this equipment would cause the equipment to drift drastically.
To better understand what the controllers could and could not see, investigators test the technology by flying an F-4 along the flight path on that fateful day. Did the outdated radar pick up the F-4?
Was that something there?
The F-4 is traveling almost 500 miles an hour.
The F-4 does 6 runs. But the controller can barely track the fast, stealthy fighter.
It might have been a plane, though. Maybe not.
It could just be interference that was shown frequently on the radar. A single blip means absolutely nothing. We have to have a history of blips to see that it's actually traffic.
Investigators conclude it would have been almost impossible to detect the fighter jet as it streaked across the sky.
He's all alone, and no one knows he's there.
To make matters worse, in 1971, military pilots were not routinely briefed on civilian air traffic routes.
We should stay clear of traffic if we cut east to Los Angeles.
Schiess tells investigators that they hope to avoid commercial air traffic by skirting the city. Unintentionally, they flew into one of the airport's busiest lanes.
Why did the F-4 crew not get a hold of an air traffic control guide to let them know where they were and what they were doing?
The terminal area chart would show those departures, but the military doesn't have those because they don't operate out of Los Angeles International Airport.
investigators uncover a dangerous flaw in the American aviation system. The military and civilian control centers don't communicate with each other.
Bang.
The pilots had no idea they were flying towards each other at the same altitude.
We've done anything different? No, absolutely not. It was just something that happened. We could not have changed it, not us.
The exhaustive investigation produces two separate reports, one civilian and one military. They cover every detail of the deadly accident. How military and civilian authorities failed to communicate they had planes flying in the same airspace.
Was that something there?
How controllers couldn't track the supersonic fighter jet, and why the crew of a DC-9 with 44 passengers on board never saw them coming. The reports lead to important changes in the rules governing aviation.
Military pilots, as a result of this accident, everybody had to be on radar control, and that means being controlled by radar operators on the ground.
Military pilots are now advised of all restricted air traffic zones near commercial airports. And the restricted airspace at busy airports is expanded to include more of the surrounding area. Hughes Air West was sold in 1980 and eventually folded into Northwest Airlines. But the legacy of the company's deadliest accident endures.
One of the things that came out of the Hughes Air West F4 mid-air collision was a need to have better communication between the aircraft that are flying and with air traffic control. Tragically, it wasn't one that was implemented perfectly in the future.
7 years later, California residents face another disaster as two planes collide over San Diego. Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 182 is on an early morning run down the coast of California from Sacramento to San Diego.
Approach PSA 182 coming out of 9.5, descending to 7,000. Airport is in sight.
First Officer Bob Fox is at the controls of the Boeing 727. Captain Jim McFerrin has been with the airline for 17 years.
PSA 182. Cleared visual approach, runway 27.
Thank you, cleared visual approach 27.
There are 128 passengers on board, including 30 Pacific Southwest employees. An approach controller at a facility north of the airport monitors Flight 182's approach.
1,000 until further advised.
The approach control facility is quite busy, and that's stressful because you're handling so many different airplanes in the same airspace.
When the controller spots a Cessna flying ahead of the 727, he makes sure they can see it.
PSA 182, traffic's at 12 o'clock, 3 miles out, 1,700.
Got it. Traffic in sight.
Okay, sir. Maintain visual separation, contact Lindbergh Tower 133.3. Have a nice day.
Okay.
Visual separation means that the pilot has another aircraft in sight and acknowledges it.
Got it.
Once the visual approach is accepted by the pilot, he's then responsible for maintaining separation from that traffic.
With the plane now less than 5 miles from the runway, a controller in the airport's tower takes over to guide the flight in for landing.
PSA 182, cleared to land.
182 is cleared to land. Gear down.
Suddenly, First Officer Bob Fox spots a distant plane.
There's one underneath. I was looking at that inbound over there.
Doc, we're going down. This is PSA. Okay. We'll call the equipment for you. Get over here.
The approach controller's radar reveals that the 727 has collided with the Cessna.
Brace yourself.
Hundreds of people watched in horror as the two planes collided and crashed into a quiet San Diego residential neighborhood.
144 people are dead, including 7 on the ground. 22 homes are destroyed. It's the biggest airline disaster in American history to date.
The PSA accident in 1978, I think, was the linchpin when the United States government and the aviation world in general figured out we have to do something about this.
2 hours after the crash, NTSB investigator Wally Funk arrives from Los Angeles.
The accident scene was horrendous. There was so many bits and parts and pieces around not only the aircraft, but the homes.
Funk needs to confirm that the wreckage of a small plane found 6 blocks away is in fact what collided with the 727.
We had paint transfers, we had pieces and parts from the 2 different aircraft. Yes, this was an absolute mid-air collision, there's no doubt about it.
But how did these 2 planes end up on a fatal collision course?
We had to visualize from a very mangled mess of metal where the 2 came together.
Fortunately, the 727's black boxes are recovered from the crash site and rushed back to Washington, D.C. for analysis. Meanwhile, senior NTSB investigator Philip Hogue joins the team. He's eager to speak with the approach controller.
Can you show us the 2 flight paths?
So the 727 was flying east to do a turnaround and land on runway 27. And the Cessna was flying northeast, but it was miles ahead of the 727.
They should have missed each other by over a mile.
To verify the approach controller's account, investigators review a transcript of his conversation that day. It confirms that both pilots knew each other's positions.
PSA 182, traffic's at 12 o'clock, 3 miles out, 1,700.
Got it.
But if both planes knew of each other, why did their aircraft collide? Investigators question why the approach controller didn't warn the pilots when they were dangerously close, especially since his radar would have sounded a proximity alarm.
Didn't you get any warning?
We did. We ignored it. Well, when the alert sounded, I mentioned it to my supervisor. It's alarm again. I talked to both planes. PSA 182 has confirmed a visual sighting of the Cessna. We're not expected to contact the pilots if they're flying by visual rules. Not to mention we get about 13 alarms a day, so.
The approach controllers overlook the alert, but they contact the Cessna and remind them of the nearby 727.
Traffic in your vicinity. PSA jet has you in sight. He's descending for Lindbergh.
But at that exact moment, the planes collide.
Get over here.
Investigators now interview the tower controller to better understand why he also failed to warn both pilots. They discover he relied on an even less sophisticated radar.
The tower controller did not have the collision alert system at the time.
When the controller saw the planes within a mile of each other, he made contact, warning the 727.
PSA 182.
Traffic, 12 o'clock, 1 mile.
I think he's passing
off to our right.
Yeah.
If the pilot says he's passing off to our right, this implies that he's still maintaining visual separation. It was his responsibility, and you would not worry about it.
After talking to both controllers, investigators still have no answer to the key question in the mid-air collision. Who crashed into whom?
Now, let's have the next acetate, please.
But when they calculate the 2 planes' actual radar tracks, the answer becomes clear.
For some reason, the 727 has rear-ended the Cessna.
The Cessna never passed off to the right. He was always in front of PSA.
I was looking at that inbound over there.
The 91-ton aircraft flying at 160 knots slammed into the much slower and lighter Cessna.
The PSA crew, when they acknowledged they had the Cessna in sight, at that moment became responsible for keeping the airplane separate.
Traffic in sight.
So how did the veteran 727 crew lose sight of a plane directly in front of them? In Washington, NTSB investigators review the recovered cockpit voice recording of PSA Flight 182.
All right, hit it.
They hope the pilot's conversation will explain how they lost sight of the Cessna.
Are we clear of that Cessna?
Supposed to be. Oh, yeah. Before we turned downwind, I saw him about 1 o'clock. Probably behind us now.
Southern.
35 seconds before impact, the PSA crew think they've passed the Cessna.
It was right in front of them the whole time.
Investigators wonder if something was preventing the pilots from seeing the much smaller plane.
The 727, when it's flying in level flight, is a slightly nose-up condition. So that the pilots, as they look out, they're looking over the nose of the airplane.
Was the nose of the aircraft high and they didn't see the Cessna? They may not have realized the Cessna was as close as it was.
The team conducts a visibility study to determine how long the PSA crew could see the Cessna through their windscreen. After measuring and photographing each pilot's view, they plot the Cessna's location on the photos in 10-second intervals. What they find is surprising. The PSA crew could see the Cessna for a much longer period than they expected.
170 seconds of clear view.
How did the pilots lose track of the Cessna when it was in view for almost 3 minutes? Searching for answers, investigators go back further in time on the cockpit recording.
PSA 182, traffic's at 12 o'clock, 3 miles out, 1,700.
Got it. Traffic in sight.
85 seconds before impact, the 727's pilots spot the Cessna flying ahead of them.
Okay, sir. Maintain visual separation. Contact Lindbergh Tower.
133.3.
The crew must now keep the Cessna in view while performing other tasks in preparation for landing.
Lindbergh, PSA 182, downwind.
The wings need to be configured, the landing gear must be lowered, systems have to be adjusted, so it's a busy place.
But at this critical moment, no one is keeping an eye on the Cessna.
Is that the one we're looking at?
Yeah, but I don't see him now.
The Cessna should be right here in front of them.
The Cessna was visible just at about the windshield level of PSA. And it's really incredible that somehow they lost sight of it.
Okay, can you show me how you normally adjust your seat, please?
To better understand how the PSA crew lost sight of the Cessna, investigators take another look at the cockpit visibility.
Pilots come in all sizes and shapes. They learn quickly to adjust the seats to the position that's comfortable.
Some pilots want to sit lower so they can see their instruments better.
When they recalculate the Cessna's location on the windshield based on the crew's seat positions, they make a shocking discovery. Instead of 3 minutes, the crew would only have seen the Cessna for 5 to 10 seconds. Even if the crew had leaned forward to check for the plane, investigators believe the smaller plane may have been camouflaged by the background.
They become harder to see, and the terrain makes it even more so.
Is that the one we're looking at?
Yeah, I don't see him now.
The fate of Flight 182 now depends on the captain clearly communicating this to the tower.
I think he's passed off to our right.
The controller would have been able to see that the Cessna had not passed the 727 on his radar. So why didn't he take action?
Okay, we had him there a minute ago.
Investigators compare 2 separate recordings of the conversation between the captain and the controller.
Okay, Chris, let's hear the cockpit first.
I think he's passed off to our right.
Passed. I thought I heard passing before. Double check that, please.
I think he's passed off to our right.
He's still saying pass. Let's compare it with the tower, because I think I heard passing.
Investigators make a startling discovery.
He's backing up to him, right?
Passing. I was right. It does sound like passing.
Radio static caused the radio controller to hear the word passing, not passed.
The air traffic controller heard it as he's passing off to our right. That indicated that they still have visual contact with him.
You would believe that the pilot was being able to maintain the separation. It was his responsibility, and you would not worry about it.
In the spring of 1979, investigators finally conclude who was at fault.
The determination of the board's report is very clear that the crew obviously did not see the aircraft Cessna in time to divert it away from a catastrophic accident.
Recommendations in their report focus on improving the air traffic control system in San Diego. PSA 182 also helped fuel the search for new technology. 3 years after the accident, a safety device called TCAS, or Traffic Collision Avoidance System, is developed and later installed in all passenger aircraft.
All airliners are now equipped with fairly sophisticated collision avoidance systems. They have the ability in the cockpit to get instant feedback to avoid other airliners, including instructions as to what they should do to avoid that airliner.
279, good day.
Unfortunately, in some corners of the world, aviation developments don't come soon enough. In 1996, tragedy strikes again when two passenger jets collide over India. Indira Gandhi International Airport, New Delhi. A gateway to India. Just past 6 o'clock, Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763 takes off into the sunset.
Gear up. Gear up. Clear on left.
Captain Khalid Al-Shubaili powers the Boeing 747 away from the runway. His co-pilot, Nazir Khan, handles all radio communication. 289 passengers on board are traveling to Dhahran, Saudi Arabia.
279, good day.
Shortly after takeoff, approach controller VK Dutta guides the plane away from the airport.
Saudi 763 approaching flight level 100.
Roger, climb, flight level 140.
Clear to climb 140, Saudi 763.
After reaching 14,000 feet, the crew request permission to continue their ascent.
Roger, maintain flight level 140. Stand by for higher.
In order to coordinate incoming and outgoing traffic, Dutta wants the Saudi flight to stop climbing.
Saudi 763 will maintain 140.
The controller is concerned about another plane, a Kazakhstan Airlines Ilyushin 76 passenger jet, which is coming in for landing at Indira Gandhi Airport. He wants it to pass 1,000 feet above the Saudi flight before landing. After that, he'll let the Saudis continue their climb.
Kazakh 1907, now reaching 150, 46 miles from Delta Papa November.
Roger, maintain flight level 150. Identify traffic 12 o'clock reciprocal, Saudi Boeing 747.
Dutta warns the Kazakh flight of the nearby Saudi jet.
How many miles?
Traffic is at 8 miles, level 140.
But seconds later, a massive explosion tears through the Saudi jet. Both the Saudi and Kazakh flights have vanished from the controller's radar.
Saudi 763. Kazakh 1907, report position.
So I watched the sweep again. They were not there at all.
A call from a nearby US Air Force pilot confirms the worst.
2 distinct fires on the ground.
Two planes have gone down over Chakri Dadri.
In the hours following the horrific collision, recovery teams find the wreckage of the Kazakh and Saudi aircrafts 4.5 miles apart. The two planes were carrying 349 people. There are no survivors. It's the worst mid-air collision of all time.
The death toll is terrible. It's terrible if it's several hundred. It's terrible if it's even one person. But what has to be true, no matter how many people are killed in the event, is what are we going to do about it?
The next morning, Captain KPS Nair is one of the first investigators on the scene.
I was aghast, horrified. It is something which I can't explain.
Investigators have two separate crash sites to examine, but they know one cause will explain both accidents. Thankfully, the black boxes from both aircraft are found. While investigators wait for the data to be recovered, they focus on conversations between the two planes and the air traffic controller.
Hi, I'm VK Dutta.
Have a seat. They want to know everything that Dutta did on the night of the crash.
Was traffic heavy?
Evenings are always busy.
Unlike most modern systems, Dutta's radar doesn't track a plane's altitude. Instead, controllers write a plane's last reported position on a strip of paper.
This is the Kazakh one, and this is the Saudi one.
Kazakh 1907, now reaching 150.
Dutta was supposed to ensure that the two planes were 1,000 feet apart as they approached each other.
Roger, maintain flight level 140, stand by for higher.
To confirm Dutta's instructions, investigators review the air traffic control transcripts. They learned that Dutta gave the two planes the proper directions.
Roger, maintain flight level 140, stand by for higher.
Since his radar system doesn't display altitude, there was no way for him to tell if the planes followed his orders.
Mostly there and there, as close as you can get it.
One of the planes must have drifted from their assigned altitude. But which crew is responsible for the fatal collision? Investigators in India catch a break when engine pieces of the Saudi aircraft are found near the beginning of the debris field. It reveals that they were some of the first pieces to come off the plane after the collision.
The significant points of contact was between the tail end of the IL-76 and the wing portion of the Boeing 747 of Saudi Air.
The tail of the Kazakh plane appears to have pierced through the left wing of the Saudi jet. Surprisingly, the Kazakh flight wasn't above the Saudi jet when they collided, as air traffic controllers thought.
Between two aircraft, the requirements specify a vertical minimum separation of 1,000 feet.
Investigators wonder which plane was at the wrong altitude. Unfortunately, the recovered cockpit instruments provide little help in verifying the aircraft's positions at impact.
I can't find anything. Too much damage.
I agree. Look at this.
Having learned all they can from the crash site, the fate of the investigation now lies in what details are stored in the flight data recorders. 3 months later, data from both the Kazakh and Saudi black boxes is successfully downloaded. In order to avoid any suggestion of bias, The boxes are analyzed in England by the experts at the Air Accidents Investigation Branch.
279, good day.
They concentrate on the data from the Saudi flight 763 first.
Saudi 763 approaching 140 for higher.
Roger, maintain flight level 140. Stand by for higher.
Saudi 763 will maintain 140.
Both the CVR and the flight data recorder revealed that the Saudi pilots received clear instructions from the controller and followed them meticulously.
It had leveled at its assigned altitude of 14,000 feet and continued to fly level.
But when investigators examined the Kazakh's flight data, they discover that it descended to just over 1,000 feet below assigned altitude, putting it within 10 feet of the Saudi flight. To understand why the Kazakh plane was below its assigned altitude, investigators turned to the cockpit voice recorder.
Kazakh 1907, report level passing.
Passing 240, Kazakh 1907.
Because the Ilyushin is a modified military plane, it has another unusual feature, a position for a radio operator in the cockpit. Yegor Rep handles all communications for the Kazakh flight. As they near the airport, Rep gets in touch with approach controller Dutta.
I told Kazakh to descend and maintain flight level 150. That is 15,000 feet.
Kazakh 1907, now reach 150.
It's 1 minute before the impact, and the Kazakh plane is in position 1,000 feet higher than the Saudi plane. But investigators know that instead of leveling off, the plane continued to descend. As it does, Dutta issues a traffic warning to the Kazakh pilots.
Identified traffic, 12 o'clock reciprocal, Saudi Boeing 747 and 10 miles. Likely to cross in another 5 miles. Report if in sight.
He tells them to watch out for the Saudi flight, but the Kazakh jet just keeps flying lower.
Ahead. Ahead.
Suddenly, the radio operator recognizes the plane is flying too low.
Keep the 150. Do not descend. Accelerate, Sanyo.
But his warning comes too late.
Get to the 150 because of the 140. Stop one!
Investigators are stunned. Why weren't the pilots monitoring their altitude?
Report 8 miles.
They go back to earlier in the recording. While Rep communicates with the ground, neither the pilot nor co-pilot confirm the altitude instructions.
Switch on.
The pilots are busy discussing arrival procedures. Rep appears to be the only one focused on their altitude.
Hold the level. What level were we given?
The final report points a finger squarely at the crew of the Kazakh plane. The Kazakh pilot's failure to maintain altitude led to the deaths of 349 people. Investigators are also critical of the outdated radar that was being used in New Delhi. Today, new radar systems allow controllers across the country to see an airplane's flight number, altitude, and heading, preventing mid-air collisions from ever happening again.
It's not a matter of who did something wrong. It's a matter of how can we change the way we do business to make sure this can't happen again. Not that it is unlikely, but that it can't.